Hello, YouTube. Ronin Kaze. Making me the way today. So, the thumbnail talked about bad luck. And in gaming, when you're out grinding for XP and those kind of things, those are usually bad pulls. As you're going to see here, I'm in Ashes of Creation, and I'm trying to get single pulls because that's easy for me to handle. But what do you do when you have some bad luck, or it's perceived as bad luck? What do you do then? Well, first I'm going to ask you to like, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Please share this with other people if you find it decent. Thanks for watching, and if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, please do. So I'm going to also try to give you a view of the background that I'm fighting in. It's mountainous. I like it. In that background there, you could see that's the mountain I climbed the other day. What happens in your life? It's the same for both of these. So number one, how do I deal with bad luck? It's preparation. Well, Ronin, how can you prepare for something you don't know? Well, if you ask folks in the military, if you first responders, those kind of people, it's preparedness, right? You're preparing for the unknown. And in a game, I'm fighting level 12, so I'm level 11 now. I started coming out here when I was level 10. It was hard when I was level 10. And near the end of the video, you'll see a bridge I stayed near. It was like my lifeline. It was like home. If you ever played tag, there was a place called home that you could race to. If you got there before the person that was tagging you, you were safe. Home base. So, number one, when dealing with bad luck, is preparing for it. And quite frankly, if you prepare for it correctly, you'll be able to mitigate the bad luck. What does that mean in a game? That means you have to have some crowd control skills, and you have to have a strategy, and you've had to practice those strategies. That's the same thing in your life. There's a commercial for those of you not in the United States, the NFL, the National Football League, it's American football. And they have a commercial where the family talks about a family preparedness plan. And that's a great idea. You know, if everything goes down, do we have radios? Do we have telephone numbers? Do we have website? What do we have that we can share and get information to each other? Do we have kits in our car? When I was selling insurance most recently, I was out with a new agent, and it's, early spring. It's early in the morning. We're out at a site. We're going to try to, solicit people to buy insurance. And they didn't bring a coat. And they didn't have a coat in their car. And they didn't have a change of clothes in their car. And so that's just a recipe for disaster. That's a person that was totally unprepared and had a miserable day because they just didn't prepare. Now, is it bad luck? Number two is your attitude. So, in any situation, you can go into Eeyore mode. I once read a book called The Tao of Pooh, T-A-O. The Tao of Pooh is how you say that word, not Tao. New Agers, please. Get it right. The Tao of Pooh, and they made fun of the people with the personality of Eeyore. Eeyore was a donkey. Oh, it's gonna happen to me. Your attitude has a lot to do with your survivability and how you deal with bad luck. If the traffic's bad in the morning, I could get on Waze and go around it. YouTube, that works sometimes. That's like spending good money after bad. So if you are preparing for these kind of things, you got your office or someone that works at your office or a loved one that you have on speed dial and hands-free, you call them up and tell them what your situation is. And it's done. There's nothing you can do about if someone has an accident in front of you and if they're clearing the accident. You're just going to be there. You can try to evade it like 50% or 40% of the other people, then you're in a new traffic jam on surface streets and lights and all those things. Believe me, I've done this over and over and over and failed over and over and over. If I would have just stayed there. And like we said the other day about plans, strategies and tactics, you have to pivot sometimes. But people with ADHD, and better yet, managers that have that, always value activity over getting something done. If you look busy, that's what they're happy about. And they're horrible managers. If you're conscientious at your work, you always have stuff to do. You always have a backup pile of things to do that you could do in a pinch. Some of them are high focus, some of them are low focus. What I mean by high focus and low focus. High focus activity is, let's do it in terms of the game. Here's a low focus activity is doing my inventory, right? I could get attacked and I can get out of it. High focus is I'm going to pull. It's the highest focus of all of this. Then I prepared for the situation that I'm going to do on the mobs. You might see that there's a flash here when they get close. If they're level 12, then what I do is I stun them temporarily. I mesmerize them. That's mesmerizing. Then I do my speed buff, and then I attack faster. Oh, did I mention that I constantly have a heal over every time I damage? I have a 25% chance of healing myself. I'm not the fastest person. I could have taken more damage skills, but I'm preparing for just staying. You can look at my mana and my health bars never go low. And that's how I'm playing, because I'm just going to be here for a long time. Because failing is so catastrophic, it takes so much time out of this that it defeats the purpose. So the number one thing is survivability. And that's your life, YouTube. You need to survive. Finally, after you've prepared and after you've practiced, right, and you got your mindset and you're ready to do it, you have to engage. You have to implement the program. A lot of times when I was in the Coast Guard, there'd be people that would be prepared. That was our job. We trained all the time. And they had the mindset. You thought they had the mindset, but they couldn't engage. Once it came for them to engage and do it, their training fell out. They froze up. Their flight, fight, or flee kicked in. And specifically, I recall one time, I've told this story before. It's in April in Detroit. We're on the Detroit River. We're doing a man overboard. It's cold. There's still ice in the water. Not a lot of ice, but ice is still floating down. The water's maybe 37, 36. And I send the guy in. Now he puts on what's called a Mustang. That's a coverall that goes from your head, from your ankles to your wrist, all the way up. It's not waterproof, but it'll float you and it will keep you relatively warm. We're not in there forever. But the idea is, if you've never practiced going in the water. So right here is my first 2 enemies jump me. Right? So I gotta them. I have to mesmerize them and I have to stun them. And I gotta kill the easiest one first. You can see I do the mesmerize. And then I'm going to kill the one, and then it's just a one-on-one, and I can go back to normal. You've got to be ready for that. You've got to be able to implement. You've got to be able to think about it. You got to say, I'm going to make it out of here. I need to slow down and concentrate and focus. And then I need to execute what I've done a bunch of times. How does it seem like so much bad luck? I'm not talking about multitasking. Well, I'm stuck in traffic. No, I'm not talking about that. You might have some quiet time. You might practice your breathing. You might do something to relieve your stress like that. You may have time to put on a better podcast instead of your guilty pleasure housewives of New Brunswick and seeing what they're doing. So bad luck in games are easily mitigated by preparation. Some games you'll have potions. Some games, you'll have other crowd control skills. Sometimes you got to run away. In life, sometimes you can't run away, right? You got to deal with what's in front of you. But you're allowed to think about it and get bummed out about it and, for a second, but then you got to get right into your mode. Then your bad luck is mitigated to somewhat. And really, bad luck sometimes, not all the times. I don't want to come across like one of those posters. Hang in there with the kitten hanging. Hang in there, it's going to get better. That's BS, right? And you don't always have to be positive. I understand that some of you are just negative, and that's okay. It's okay to you have a outlook on life. It's cup is half empty. Not trying to change you. I'm trying to get you to, in an instance, you change temporarily your situation, how you look at it and how you deal with it. And no matter how much you put on your try-hard pants, you're still not going to be able to dunk. Right? But that's not a bad luck thing. That's just a genetics thing. So there's some things you just can't overcome, but then there's a different path. And you might not need to be any direction of the path you're on. Okay, one thing when you're grinding out or you're farming, they call this farming in these kind of games. You have I don't want to fight these birds. They're pains in the butt. I have to do a little more movement. They go away, they spin around, and then they go and they launch and they try to hit me, so I got to move. Now, normally, I can out-heal most damage. I can either stun them, heal up while I'm not getting hit, right? Or I can mesmerize them, then they're like asleep until I attack them again, and I can heal up. My heal puts a shield on me. I have another, right? I have all these mitigating kind of things. That bird, I try to kill it a couple times, and look, it just goes away. So now I'm done with that bird. It just reset itself. I might try to kill it one more time. So when you're going into this new year, maybe don't get blind stinking drunk, you two, or blasted so you can remember what's going on. I'm not saying don't drink, just saying be responsible. So you gotta, when we would drive the boat, so one of the first things they taught you about being a coxswain. It's spelled coxswain, but it's pronounced coxswain. English. Anyways, they would tell you never go all the way forward. Don't ever put your throttles all the way to the stop, because sometimes you might need that extra little power. And that's what I'm telling you. Maybe only give 80% and just have a little bit in reserve. Have a plan. Plan might have to change. You might meet somebody you really like, and you might stay up till 3 a.m. talking to them. For those of you that are listening on the... I looked at the camera like, really? You're talking till 3 a.m. then? Here's God bless you, person. Have a plan. Try to stick to it. Like we talked about last one, you have overall strategy. You want to get home. It's one of those days that stuff's going to happen because there's more people out. There's more people that aren't always out. So you got a different mix of people all together. So you want to be more careful. And you got this whole new year. Let's say 2025 wasn't that good for you. What are you going to do that's different? Are you going to cut back some foods, cut back alcohol, cut back any other type of mood enhancing things that you do? And the key to all of that in this preparation, we didn't prepare for the absolute. Here I'm pulling the two people from the. I didn't want to draw two of these because these are going to be tough. Two of them are tough. So I stop early and I'm going to freeze one and I'm going to attack the other one. So I'm breaking it down. Then I'm going to mez that one and put on my speed buff, get my heels going, and just try to burn that one down. And you saw earlier I did it. And one of the benefits is in this game, when most of the weapons, when you're close, it shoots one, it knocks out both. But what are you going to do for 2026? Well, you're going to have an overarching or arching strategy that you're going to use. And you're going to have tactics that change that. And how are we going to deal with 2026? We're going to prepare for it. We're going to practice it. We're going to change our attitude when things change and a little wrench gets thrown into our plans. And then we're going to execute what we've practiced. And then I would recommend the following things for you quality people, but everyone should be involved in this part of quality. Then I'm going to reassess how that worked. How was my plan? What could I have done better? And then go from there. And then if I make any changes, practice those changes, visualize what's going to happen, and then do it. And get ready to go back. You're going to see the place I used to camp, but I'm crossing this river. I like that the river's moving. That's a nice little, this is a, 2016 game that was created. It's okay, it's growing on me quite a bit. I'm level 11. It's harder to level. But at level 10, you can get this next tier of items that make you better. I bought a weapon, and it's made the world of difference for me. So if you're playing Ashes of Creation, you got to make as much gold as you can so you can buy at least a new weapon. And I've got a couple of pieces of the adept gear, which makes it easier for you to level because you have more sustainability. So what are you doing in your life for this next year that's going to make it more sustainable? If you have children, are you going to love them more? I know you already love them. You're going to love them more. I love them infinity. Well, figure out a way to love them more. How about your wife or your husband or your spouse? How are you going to take care of them more? Your children, your parents. And all that giving to other people is ultimately going to help you. So everyone, this is Ronin Kaze. I barely know my name. Have a good one. Ronin Kaze out.